Thank you so much for that question. Before I answer that question, first of all, let me say something. 11 years ago, I lost my mom. When that happened, the source of my joy and happiness was gone. Today, joining this crusade, sharing this valuable message with people, families, friends, colleagues, has brought back my joy. No kidding. My name is Dr. Clement Anyao. I'm board certified in family medicine, and I subspecialize in emergency medicine, and I provide emergency medicine services in various emergency rooms here in Texas. Thank you so much for that question. Where do I start and where do I end? I am an ER doctor. Critical illness surrounds me, unfortunately, each day of my shift. That's all I see. Heart attack, stroke, cancer, first diagnosis of cancer. You know the painful thing? Going into the room and giving the bad news. There was a day, within a span of 1 hour, no, 58 minutes, to be exact, I came into my shift, 3 strokes, CV years, 50 years, 40 years, 30 years. Okay, so joining this financial business right now, the time is now.
Yes, sir.
The time is now. If you're here, go get yourself covered, your family, your friends. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. That was very profound, Dr. Anyao. And really powerful. I agree with you. I guess and I believe we all had him. It's for real. He sees that every day of his life. So it's not something you have to start doubting about. You just need to make that decision today. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And I'm so sorry, about your story, your personal story. Now, Dr. Oswago, I have a question for you. Give me 1 second, please. Okay, so my question to you, Dr. Oswago, is, as a PhD holder, in public health, and having worked in the public health sector for over 35 years, right up to retirement, no one taught you the basic concepts of money, how money works. Nobody taught you that. You would agree with me, it's not taught in schools, right? So, you took the leap of faith at 70 to save your community by joining this noble crusade. Knowing what you know now, what is your advice for the younger generation?
Excellent question. And thank you all for having me. I'm glad people chose to be here today in this audience to listen to this crusade. First of all, let me acknowledge Dr. Anyao's life in emergency room as one that is not enviable. It's a sacrifice, night and day. And why am I saying that? I've been there. I used to be the director of emergency room for 20 years. And I see what you see every day and what you all go through, and how blood flows, you're running from one end to the other. So we really appreciate your sacrifice. For me, the question of what would you tell people? I want to start with my own experience, our experience recently. And many of you may not know, in the last 3 or 4 months, we have one of our sons, our older sons, who got ill, complained of headache, and the next thing, diagnosed with aneurysm. He collapsed. Was meant to be dead, but he's alive. And why am I saying that? A winning game is a losing game. There's no reason why people will hear this message and they will give you one excuse or the other, and then when something happens, we go to GoFundMe. There's no such excuse. So I want to let you know that it's like somebody asked a while ago, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Nobody has any, you don't have control about what will happen to you. It's God. God saved our son for a purpose. And the funny thing is, one of those people who is always very meticulous about everything. Mommy, are you sure? Mommy, I don't know about this. Mommy, are you sure? And finally, the very weekend, he wanted to sign off his policy. He had this experience. A waiting game is a losing game. But you know what? We feel like we have $100 million in our home. Because my son is alive and thriving, even when he was said to have been gone. But why am I saying this? To encourage all of us, your children, your family. When we do these presentations and we ask men, yesterday or today, you, your wife, your children, it's yesterday. Just do it now if you haven't done it. It's very important. So for me, what would I have done differently? In 1999, you may be surprised, that's the first time I heard about this, and we got registered. 1999, you had me right. Wow. But you know what got me distracted? I was director of emergency room. I had a great job. Yes, at the time, looking at the picture, economically we were comfortable. So it wasn't that important to me. And one other major issue was we were not coached or trained. We didn't have people like what Emmanuel and Daniel and the rest of our leaders, Margaret, what they're doing now, training people. We didn't have anybody. You registered and we took policy. My husband and I took policy. And they vanished. It was an Asian lady. The lady who worked with me in emergency, one of my nurses, is the one that introduced me to it. And when our kids were ready to go to college, and we tried to get money, they said it wasn't mature yet. And the reason we pulled out was because we were not sure again. We never knew anything about maturity, we were not well educated. So for you, when you get a policy in place for a client, make sure you carefully explain to them. So they are not surprised when things change or when there's a question you have that they can't answer. So what advice do I have for young people? Do not wait. Parents, do not wait to protect your children. Do not wait to protect your family. You never know what will happen and when it will happen. And for us, for fellow women, you know, men think differently. They think concretely. They are not very easy to be convinced in many cases. When it is something right in your spirit, respectfully insist and let your husband understand the value of it. Do it very respectfully, but insist. Because you may be saving life. You may be saving somebody. So the other point I have is, for our men, I encourage you, please listen to your wife. You are the head. Your wife is your heart. The head doesn't have time to process too much. The heart thinks everywhere and brings it together. When the heart and the head work together, everything is possible.
Thank you, Dr. Swago. Thank you, I appreciate you deeply. We all appreciate you. Now, I just want to kind of, re-echo and emphasize something she said that, really resonated with me regarding her experience with her son. Her son, mind you, is a physician. He's an MD. Specialization in internal medicine. This young man was supposed to sign his $1 million policy the day he had the aneurysm. Can you imagine that? He would have been given a check of $900,000. You now see why she's saying, do not waste time. Do not wait. You don't have any reason to wait because it's for real. It's for real. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing that story, because you have the right not to share, but you did, and you wanted people to learn. That's why you did. Thank you so much. A round of applause for her. All right. So I'm going to address Dr. Obazu, Dr. Dare Obazu. I have a question for you, and the question I have is, you have been known to be very aggressive in disseminating this financial literacy awareness through WFG. From your experience, do you feel like our community is being left behind? If so, what steps do you think we need to take?
Thank you, Dr. Mary Sechi, for that question. Yes, as many of you know me, I don't choose my words because, again, as an academician, a part-time academician, teaching in 2 universities and a full-time management consultant, what I've seen in our community is a great shift. Our mindset, our cultural values are really holding us back. It is high time we realize where we are. We come all the way from other countries as immigrants and we are here. It is high time you understand that you are in the United States of America. You are an American. And we bring all these perceptions that we have back home, here, thinking we're going to fit a square peg in a round hole. Forget it. You want to go back home? As many of us are first generation Americans. We're raising kids here. Our parents did what they could do to protect us back home, and we cared for them. My mom just passed away last month in Nigeria. But I'm here with 3 black boys in the United States of America. I lost my father when I was 5 years old, back in Nigeria. But I'm here, as like many of you, we're here, first generation Americans, and then we are educated about how to protect ourselves and our next generation, and then we are waiting. In America, you're on your own. Anything happens to you right now, right here, your kids are on their own. Your surviving spouse is on her own or on his own. No uncles, no brother, no sister, no aunties to fall back on. Who do they fall back on? The government? Your job? The mindset is what is keeping us. I'm very aggressive when I teach and educate families on these things. We're in America. Why do we have to do what everyone does and we call ourselves a chosen generation? Many are called, few are chosen. Are you among the few? Everybody has a government employee retirement plans. Okay. But do you have to do what everybody does to be financially secure? Living in a big house, driving the best cars, without insuring yourself and protecting your next generation. If the Rockefellers did what everybody did, would they be called Rockefellers?
No.
Please, let's change our mindset. Secondly, we don't read.
Not true.
We Google everything. As an academician, right here, empirical studies, peer-reviewed articles and journal articles and books are those that would give you the right information. You go on Google, every Tom, Dick, and Harry can go on Google and say whatever they want to say about a platform and about a portfolio that will set yourself up and your family for life. And because a guy like me comes to you to educate you, we call it scam.
Yeah.
I would not be a professor, or I would not have had my PhD in management information systems if I had listened to everybody in my elementary school. You know what that is? Maths is hard. Maths is hard. Mathematics, arithmetic, we go into the class. Once the arithmetic teacher is coming, everybody's running scatter. You can't even, my dad called me one day and said, Darren, what the heck is going on? I was like, what's happening to your maths? Maths is hard, Dad. Maths is hard. Arithmetic is hard. Who told you that? Everybody. Everybody. You're listening to everybody to make your own determination. He sat me down one day and he hired a mathematics teacher. And I said, oh, Dad, it's not that hard. Because I sat, I studied, I read, I got quality information. That same maths made me the best math student in my elementary school, in my high school, gave me a scholarship to come to the United States to read computer science, masters, and a PhD in MIS. That same maths everybody was running for. So my question to you is, are you going to listen to the crowd or listen to yourself and sit down and listen to the person who is presenting you with financial security? There are two hopes in America: the false positive and the true positive. The false positive is what America is giving you right now. A big house, a mortgage on a big house, a car note, credit cards. How about you have an account that does what your mortgage does to you? Do you have a mortgage on your life? Or do you have a fiscal mortgage that is compounding against you?
Yep.
The mindset. We need to shift that mindset. You can't use 20th century financial principles to address 21st century financial problems. I don't choose my words, but I hope I was able to answer that question.
That was awesome. Thank you. Please give him a round of applause. Right. So just to summarize what he said, what he's saying to us is that you should take this and run with it. Okay? With what we do here, we are able to provide people income when they fall sick. We are able to provide people an account that avoids the probate cut. We are able to provide people an account where their money grows by compounding. It is not simple interest, compound interest. We are able to help people open an account that they can go and take money without paying a dime in taxes. You remember one of our former presidents? He said the surest thing is debt and tax in the US. That's your surest bet. Debt and tax. Taxes. And again, we are able to help parents open an account for their children that is of multi-purpose. Not the one you call the education plan, that at the end of the day, if the child decides to school in California and the child is in Maryland, the state of Maryland will not allow them to move their money to California. Or the child now gets to 18 years to go to college, and he says to you, Mom, you know what, I don't want to go to college. I want to go do music. And then you, the parent, will not have to pay penalty for not using that money for education. That is not what we do. The kind of account we open for you is the type that that child will use to go to anywhere he wants to go to. He will use it to go to college. By the time he comes back from college, he's able to use the same account to make a down payment for his first home. He will use the same money to pay for his car, buy a brand new car. The same money, he will use it to prepare for his wedding. Can you imagine? Is there anything that beats that? That is what Dr. Daria Obasi is trying to tell us today. And so, at this time, I just want to seize the opportunity to thank you all for being here and for sharing your experiences with you. Dr. Obasi, I'm sorry for your loss, for losing your mom recently. Thank you all for listening to us.